Who is this?
Welcome, Vikings fans. This is the FullSKOL podcast.
Let's go!
Paul Allen, dude. He's a national champion.
Heck.
Oh,
Yeah, welcome to the FullSKOL podcast, your weekly in-season Vikings podcast. We got a true test. We didn't play. We're on a bye week, so we don't have a locker room speech to play this week, which is fine. Well, I can take these off.
yeah.
Make me look older than I need to be.
I always get the glare on that too. So I'm
Forget
gonna take mine
I
off.
just hate the glare.
Yeah, me too.
The glare.
As I watch back, I noticed that. I'm like, man, my glasses, I don't like that. So I'm gonna take mine off too. I might have to put it back on, but for now, that'll be off.
Yeah, I have to read stats or whatever. They're definitely going to have to go back on. But one thing I don't have a problem seeing is the future of this franchise.
Paul Allen,
a little bit. It's a little blurry. I don't know. It's a little blurry.
I don't know.
No, we don't have a locker room speech, but I did save a video. I don't even know when it was from. Maybe I think it's before the season or something. It's KOC just talking about basically people counting us out. We don't care. We know what we have in this room. And it's like,
Nice.
I just want to hire him to motivate me to do things. He's so his ability to get you fired up is just like, oh my God. He's good. But we got a real test this week. And there's still injuries to talk about. We'll get to that. Even though we didn't play, a lot happened last week. Like Green Bay won dominantly. The Bears won dominantly. Detroit just dismantled the Cowboys, and that's who we're playing this week. So it's a huge matchup just in the NFL in general. Then coming out of the NFC North, which is hands down, far and away, and it's not close, the strongest division right now. Just absolutely ridiculous. But I see us as a chance for the Vikes to really prove themselves, because after this game and this whole beginning, we looked at the beginning part of this schedule, we're like, whew, man, this is tough. Outside of game one against the Giants, where it's like, this is a tough schedule. This is the last real hurdle. So we're going to go in there. B-Flow is going to slap on the gloves, and we're going to give old Detroit Lions full-on physical, see what they're all about. Just grab those seats. And Flo's going to say, turn your head and golf. See what
Right.
down there for the ball.
Turn your head and golf. I love that. That is amazing. So, I agree. I mean, the NFC North is absolutely, like you said, it's the best division in football. Actually, do I want to go to that right now or not? We'll do it at the end of the NFC North, our little talk. And then I got a little video of Tim Hasselbeck and Scott Van Pelt that I watched. That's probably about 4 or 5 minutes. But, by far it's the best division in football. They have the top 4 point differentials in the league. We're at 63. The Lions are at 60 or 61. I think I've seen 2 different numbers. Maybe it's 60. And then the Bears at 47, I believe, and the Packers at 41. And the next closest is the Steelers at 30-something. So the top 4 point differentials in the league, of course, the 2 teams at the bottom are tied at 4-2. And we are 5-0, obviously, and the Lions are 4-1. No, 4-2. 4-2. The Bears and the Packers, they haven't had their byes yet. The Lions had their bye, so they're 4-1. And of course, leading the top of the division is the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. As well as I do, that these matchups in the NFC North are always it's a test. So, but I mean, we're one of the top 2, the Lions and the Vikings, just by pure numbers and everything else. It's 2 of the top teams in the league. I mean, just flat out. So it's definitely going to be an interesting test. Obviously, it gets a little bit easier with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, which was, you never wish that on anybody. That was
No,
nasty.
definitely.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding just seeing it. I haven't even seen the full video, and people like they're putting it up on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube or they're putting it up on TikTok or whatever. Like, oh, because TV won't show. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
No.
I just don't want to see it. It's terrible.
Yeah. And I sent you that picture in our group thread of his leg being bent back around the other defender, and just that picture, just the still of it is like, oh yeah, that's how. So you feel bad for the guy as a human being. Does it help us? Of course it helps us. And we'll jump into, I guess that, I mean, might as well.
Biggest defensive players in the league right now. I mean, that's like,
yeah,
that's an
he's
impact player for sure.
Of course he is. So this nugget that I found using PFF, which is Pro Football Focus Metrics, Lions defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson compared to the rest of the NFL this year. First in total pressures generated at 40, first in quarterback hurries in 27, first in pass rush win rate at 35.4%, first in beaten by defender metric 21, and tied for second in quarterback hits at 6. So he's a crazy defensive player. And by those numbers alone, I mean, you'd have to have the argument he could have been fighting for defensive player of the year with those numbers if he continued. So to replace that, you can't replace those numbers. I mean, yeah, other guys step up, next man mentality. But the next man is not Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, it's just pure and simple.
Not to that level. It's like when JJ goes down. It's like, next man up. Addison played great, but he wasn't JJ.
He's not JJ. Exactly. I mean, it's so that just by that alone, it's going to be a great. I mean, that's going to help us obviously because we don't have probably the best pass rusher. Well, it is the best pass rusher in the league is now out. I mean, unfortunately for him, fortunate for us. I mean. It's kind of a weird, kind of thing because, you feel bad for him as a human. But at the same time, the Detroit Lions took out TJ Hawkinson's knee a year ago, and he may not even play this week. I did look at, just to touch on that for a minute, TJ talked in his press conference today that he's ready to go. He feels way sure. Actually, by the way they measure it, because they have all the different computer stuff that they can, test and stuff, that it's better than it was before. Like it's stronger now than it's ever been. He feels 100%. What he said today was that it still just kind of depends on how the rest of the week goes. And I'm like, the rest of the week, you mean one day? You mean Friday? You mean tomorrow? You mean Friday?
They haven't announced. Yeah. Like I tried finding something and they haven't announced it.
And you know what I'm thinking? Is it a little bit of a gamesmanship because they don't have to? Because he's coming off of the I wonder what the ruling is on coming off of the IR. Like, hey, we're still working through it. It's day-to-day kind of stuff. Like, is that a little bit of a Sunday morning we have to say if you're in or you're out kind of thing, and then boom, here he is kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know because
I wouldn't put anything.
I mean, they would, even if they did, they have no tape on him. I mean, you know what I mean? Like they have no tape on him this year, so it's not like they could like game plan for him. And I mean, the tight end's the tight end, but I mean, he's so that being said, it's part of the game. We've had to go without TJ Hawkinson for the second half of last year and all of this year to this point. So like, sorry, Aiden Hutchinson. I get it. You're a great player, but now you're out. So how does Detroit fill that void? They don't with those kind of numbers. Do they rally around him?
It's just
That's what
weird.
Jeremiah always. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's just weird because like with my if my eyes look tired, it's because they are. I just finished like a 13.5-hour ride. So, but I had plenty of time to listen to all sorts of YouTube commentators and different shows and all clips from all over the league about predictions for this weekend. And I know they got to talk about stuff, but it's just so interesting how the Vikings can still be 5-0 and just not get the respect. I mean, there's some people out there that are giving us their flowers, but a lot of them are still just like, and part of it's because we're on a bye week, it's like out of sight, out of mind. and Detroit had such a dominating win over Dallas. So, I mean, I kind of get it, but you hear them say two different things within their own monologue, right? They'll go on and they'll list all these accolades about how great Detroit is, and they are a good team. I don't want to take anything away from that. They're playing out of their minds right now. And then just all these things like, oh, with that run, that run game that Detroit has, and they'll list all the attributes, and then they'll kind of as a throwaway be like, well, we'll be like one person on the panel, like voice of reason. He's like, well, the Vikes are 5-0, and they have the number 2, I think it's the number 2, might be the number 1 running defense. It's like all of our defense, I think, are like in the top 5, all the stats. There might be one like 7
no,
or
we're
something
number
like
1.
that. But
So I actually have that number.
Yeah, I think we're number 1 overall. Yeah, we'll read them off. We'll read all the
throughout Minnesota's first 5 games. B-Flow has the Vikings defense number 1 in point differential, plus 63, number 1 in interceptions, 11, number 1 in rushing touchdowns allowed, 1, and number 3 in points against, 76. So I guess that's not rushing defense, but basically number 1 defense. Now I know we give up a lot of yards. I think we talked about that last week, but a lot of that is in the. I mean, we have a 3 touchdown lead, and so we give up these yards, and then when it comes down to the red zone, then we tighten up and then we hold them. So
yeah, there's been some garbage. There's been some garbage yards. There's been some garbage points, and it does matter. I mean, when you look at the stats like that, it skews the stats for sure. And I have started hearing that phrase, which I just hate because we heard it a ton with on a shell, was that bend don't break nonsense. Except we broke all the time with on a shell, and people scored all over us. So that didn't work. But Detroit's not great in the red zone. They don't have a great red zone percentage. So that kind of feeds into our defense. That fits right into the Minnesota defense scheme, that bend don't break. You want to settle for field goals. All right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And there's other things that people brought up good points, like, how it's not tenable. You can't maintain like this getting points off turnovers every week. Like, it's not like no team defense scores points every week throughout the entire season. And at some point in time, like if that piece isn't there, you could argue if that piece isn't there against even like the Jets and maybe our last 2 games, like we might lose those games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously you stop their momentum, you stop them from scoring, and then you score on top of it. But our offense, honestly, the last 6 quarters of ball, Sam Darnold hasn't been that great. No. But Jets have a great defense too. So it's like they've been doing that to everybody. It's not, it's not like, because here's another thing that like this Sam Darnold turning into a pumpkin thing. I don't know if it's just because we're in October or it's almost Halloween or what, and I don't know where that saying has come from, but everybody is repeating it. They're like, I'm just waiting for Sam to turn into a pumpkin, go back to his old ways or whatever. It's like,
yeah. So actually, you know what? On that point, let's go ahead and let's watch this video. We can come back to the Cowboys and their terrible defense, which is a Mike Zimmer defense, by the way.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, but let's do. Let's go ahead. I sent you that screen share. There we go. So this is a excerpt from Scott Van Pelt and Tim Hasselbeck. So let's watch this and see.
17-5 on the year. The Vikings were on their bye because they played in London last week, have not lost. Lions, who obliterate Dallas 4-1. Packers and Bears, who you just saw, up to 4-2. That's the best record by any division through week 6 under the current format, which began in 2002. But it's interesting. Only been one matchup of these teams head-to-head. Tim Hasselbeck back with me. So by record, clearly the best division in the league. 4-2, good enough for a tie for last place. But as I just mentioned, there's really been no round robin at all. Just one head-to-head game. As the temperatures drop, we move towards Halloween, then Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're going to start having the true round robin, and we'll start to get a little bit of separation. And just as a point of context, Detroit, 2 of their next 3 are against North teams, beginning next week with Minnesota. What do you think we'll see as we move through this schedule in this division.
Well, I think you're right about it being the toughest division because there's no layup in the division. And you look at all the teams, they all have good defenses. They all have the ability to run the football. I think ultimately what we'll see is the separator. And I think 2 teams will separate, Green Bay and Detroit, because of the quarterback play. And that's not to be critical of Sam Darnold or Caleb Williams, but I think that'll be the separator.
Not to be critical.
I think that 2 teams will kind of take a direction in those critical games on the road in bad weather, managing it. I trust those quarterbacks more than I do the younger quarterbacks. And so I think that, when I look at that, I think, listen, Jordan Love, I think can play at an MVP level. I think Jared Goff, with what he's done throughout his career in terms of taking teams to Super Bowls, that's the difference. So, look, Love, who got off to a little bit of a slow start because of the injury, looked like the Jordan Love that we expected to see today in some conditions that weren't great at the beginning of that football game.
We talk a lot as we're sitting watching football, and you and I'll go through this a bunch about context, right? Because, record's fine, but who'd you beat? Look at Seattle as an example. Right? They start 3-0, and then they've lost the last few. Why? Well, they played much better teams, much better quarterback. I do look at Minnesota, and I give them a bunch of credit because they did play San Francisco, right? And then they beat them. They had Houston come in, and Houston's only got 1 loss. They looked horrendous against Minnesota. And they've largely played from the.
Okay, I'm gonna pause this right here and throw this in as an excerpt. I love what Scott Van Pelt, he kind of argues with Hasselbeck. So let me show you this. Is that CJ Stroud? Okay, so CJ Stroud, Houston quarterback. And I got some other. Oh, this is good. CJ Stroud, QBR. Okay. They have 1 loss against Minnesota. So they beat New England, they beat Buffalo, which New England, trash team. Buffalo, great team. Jacksonville, not so good, whatever. And then they played us, and then Chicago and Indianapolis. So they're not playing like amazing teams, but they still are, 5-1. So QBR, week 1, 100.5. Week 2, 97.6. Week 3, 110.9. Week 4, 68.6. Week 5, 94.7. Week 6, 115.9. Who did they play in week 4? Oh, is that the Vikings? Is that their 1 loss? And he has a QBR of 68.6. He's averaging a QBR of 66. No. I take that back. That is their rating. So, which is that? It's kind of similar. But here's the QBR, which is in 100 point table. 74.6 week 1, 78.3 week 2, 69.6 week 3, 29.7 week 4.
Oh my God.
64.5 week 5 and 70.4 week 6. So he averages a 66.3, 29.7 QBR against your undefeated Minnesota Vikings. So, okay, let's go back to Scott Van Pelt. We'll finish this clip and then we'll come back to that.
From the lead. So I'm not, I said, I guess I'd challenge just in this sense. I feel like Minnesota to this point has demonstrated, at least to me, that they're not going anywhere.
Well, they haven't lost, and their wins, to your point, are more impressive. That's true.
100%. So I just say that bullshit for
win.
Yeah, and look at the numbers in the back. There it is, 63, 60, 47, 41. Pittsburgh Steelers 30-something. So, okay, watch Hasselbeck kind of try to.
Without Jordan Love, that's impressive as well in terms of what it speaks to, what you are as a football team. But you're right about Minnesota. And every time we talk about it, and I can say, look, I think the quarterbacks are going to go in 2 different directions over the full season.
Right.
Pretty much every week Minnesota's played. We've talked about Brian Flores and the job that he's done. We've talked about, and you do that as a defense. Listen, you're going to give quarterbacks an opportunity if they don't make mistakes, to get it right throughout a football game. So Minnesota, in that regard, certainly could head that direction.
Look, the Detroit-Minnesota game next week becomes really intriguing because you have a Minnesota team who's not lost, coming off a bye. And the problem I have for Detroit, because, again, we're talking context, I don't know how to frame what they did today because maybe Dallas stinks.
You think?
Maybe.
Well, I'm hesitant to say it, but once is an accident, twice is a trend, 3 times a problem. That's 3 straight home games where they've gotten smoked look, I know it got close against Baltimore, but that was a little bit of window dressing, in my opinion. So I look at next week at Minnesota for Detroit, not as a prove-it spot, but I just want to see if all this momentum from what we were talking about earlier with the play calling and the weapons that Goff's got, like, what do you do against them? You go in there and hang a big number, and then I'm going to be like, all right, Hasselbeck was right on it.
Well, listen, and because of the matchup inside the matchup, exactly what you're saying, because it's Brian Flores, who we've been talking about, Ben Johnson, who we're talking about, and then Jared Goff. Like, I think in fairness to what Jared Goff has been, like, resurrects his career when he goes to Detroit, right. They're not even really sure he's going to be the starter. Surround him with the talent that they've had, and he's been incredible. And so,
boom. Okay, right there. You can get rid of that screen if you want to. So unless maybe we want to go back and play it. So what did he just say right there? Jared Goff goes to Detroit, resurrects his career, and gets all that talent around him. We are seeing it play out in front of our very eyes with Sam Darnold. The exact same thing you just said, Tim Hasselbeck. You just said Jared Goff goes to Detroit, resurrects his career, puts all that talent around him. Who has a more talented team than the Minnesota Vikings? Us or Detroit? I mean, the weapons, you just said it. Surround him with the weapons. Can Sam Darnold be surrounded by any better weapons? Absolutely, 100%, unequivocally, no. No, he cannot. We have the best wide receiver duo in football, arguably, in my opinion, obviously. I mean, Justin Jefferson, everybody pretty much agrees. If you're not just a homer.
Almost everybody says that he's the best player in football.
He's the best player in football. He's the best receiver in football. I've even seen people talk about the fact that he could be the MVP because of everything that he's doing, which, of course, I wanted to win MVP because that wins me. What did I say? It wins me? A couple grand. Anyway, because I have a bet on Justin Jefferson winning the MVP. It went $2,500 or something like that. I win if he wins MVP. But I think it's, of course, it's some of the idiot talking heads that say that, but they're just saying that what he does, and even though his numbers may not be astronomical, but what he's doing to open up everybody else on that team, because there's constant 2- and 3-man pressures against him, and he's still finding a way to get in the end zone and to have big games and the block. I mean, just everything that he brings to the table. So here, Hasselbeck talks exactly, proves my point. Sam Darnold. So all these people that are saying, I keep waiting for him to turn into a pumpkin. He's resurrecting his career. All the weapons are around him. He's in the best position that he's ever been in. You know, if I have talked about it in every single episode, basically. KOC, the notorious KOC, is the quarterback whisperer. And so why would he have to fail? Why? Now, I give it. I understand the second half of the Green Bay game, last week's game against, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, against the Jets. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that keeps coming back to my mind when I start to doubt, like, I don't know. When we needed a score against Green Bay, what did Slinging Sam Darnold do? He went down the field. Okay, we only got 3. But it was enough to win the game. What did he do when the New York game was kind of ugly, obviously? You know, it wasn't great. You know, we won the turnover battle, all that kind of stuff. You know, Aaron Rodgers with 3 turnovers, you know, whatever. But when we needed points at the end of the game, what did Slinging Sam do? Drove down the field, got the 3 points, and we put the game on ice. So why not? Why I don't understand. And to your point where you talked about, and it was crazy to me too, because I was talking to, I don't know, my boys or whoever, Jeremiah probably, about how the media is so fickle because we haven't played in a week, and now you forget how great we are. You forget what we've done to these teams previous to you know, the weeks before, just because we didn't play. And the Detroit Lions absolutely smashed Dallas, and so now in some power rankings they have Detroit higher than us because but what did Scott Van Pelt just say? They've crushed Dallas, and Dallas is terrible. Here, let's look at, I looked this up just a second ago. Dallas at home against the Saints, week 1, 44-19, 44 points. Against the Ravens, Ravens won 28-25, but that game, like he said, was like 28-7, I think, at one point, or 28-10.
Yeah.
And then Cowboys made a little bit of a run. And then they go on the road and they beat the Giants, which of course is terrible. They barely beat the Giants by 5. Then they go on the road to the Steelers, and they beat the Steelers by 3. And then they're home against the Lions last week, and they get smashed 47-9. Mike Zimmer's defense is no good. It's no good. So you like just because
that's why we got rid of him. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like just because that's why I love. Like, have you seen any of the clips of Stephen A. Smith? Because he loves to troll the Cowboy fans.
Oh,
dude, and I love his videos where he comes in off the screen just laughing like crazy and stuff, you know. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How about them boys?"
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying is that okay, yeah, Detroit is good. I give him that. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but without Aiden Hutchinson and all these momentum, you're coming into the bank, which, okay, last year we didn't play great at home. This year's a difference maker. We saw Houston, who has a 1 loss, get demoralized at the bank. 3 straight, where's my hand? 3 straight false start penalties.
It's hard to do. Why is that so hard to do?
Yeah, because it's 3 straight false start penalties in a row. So, and that brings me to my.
I want to interject.
Yeah.
Interject right here because to that point, I heard this on my drive. Detroit's penalized a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They get a lot of penalties, and so at US Bank, that's gonna play to our strengths for sure. That 12th man.
Yeah, no, 100%. So the last point that comes in, and so it's kind of funny because I haven't really been saying anything on the Book of Faces, and then today I thought, you know what? Let's just stir the pot a little bit here. So because I'm like, come on, dude. I mean, you know what? If we lose this game, okay, good for you. You know, you beat us, whatever. That's great. It's a great division. Football is amazing. It's still fun. I mean, you know, there are always tough games in interdivisional, all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, let's just stir the pot a little bit because if we lose, okay, I'll take the lumps, and they'll just pile it on. People will just pile it on. Whatever. Laugh it off, you know. It doesn't bother me like it used to in years past. I guess I'm just getting old. I mean, I'm a crazy fan, but I'm not gonna affect my neck. Like it used to bother me back in the day, like for days. Like the next day, I'm like, oh. Now I'm like, whatever. These guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't know who I am. They don't care about me.
Yeah.
And when they lose a game, they're shaking hands and signing jerseys and handing them off to each other. Like, oh yeah, good game. Yeah, we're still making $20 million for this game. Like, yeah, like it's whatever. But so this was my point to one of my good friends on Facebook, Rodney Baker, and he's a huge Lions fan, Detroit fan, all sports Detroit, Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons, but he's a true sports fan, and he calls it for what it is. If he knows we're not going to win this game, he'll call it like it is. So he says something about, you know, that they're better than us and stuff like that, and I'm like, dude, so here's the thing. Do you honestly think that Jared Goff is a better quarterback than CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, or Aaron Rodgers? No, he's not. Like a football fan who knows anything about football cannot say that Jared Goff is better than any of those quarterbacks. And what did B-Flow's defense do? 29.6 QBR for CJ Stroud. Yeah. So I looked up total QBR all NFL this season. Number 1, Jared Allen. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Jaden Daniels, who's a rookie playing out of his mind at the Commies at Washington Commanders. Number 4, Joe Flacco. Wow, with the Indianapolis Colts. Number 5, who's this? Brock Purdy. Lamar Jackson at 6. Oh, number 7. Who's number 7? Oh, CJ Stroud at number 7. Overall QBR. Kyler Murray, Alton Dalton, or Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins at 14. We're not even in the top 15. Sam Darnold at number 15 QBR. Patrick Mahomes at 16. Oh, who's at 17? Jordan Love. 18. Lawrence. 19. Matthew Stafford. 20. Jay Fields. 21. Daniel Jones. 22. Aaron Rodgers. 23. Justin Herbert. Who's number 24? Jared Goff. 24 out of 32 starting quarterbacks in QBR. So do you honestly believe that he is going to have anything for us? One of my buddies that I play pickleball with said something about Yeah, but what are you going to, because I said something about Aiden Hutchinson not being in there. I said, it must be kind of scary. You're facing us. I said, second best might still get you a wild card. Don't worry about that. But he's like, be careful what you wish for. How are you going to stop our offense? Are you watching? Are you watching what B-Flow is doing to the rest of the league? Jared Goff is not in the same.
Top tier quarterbacks.
Yes, top tier quarterback. He is not in the same breath as C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, even Aaron Rodgers at 41 years old. He's not that. Here it is right here. He's 24th in QBR, behind even slinging Sam Darnold, who everybody says, I keep waiting for the shoe to drop. I keep waiting for him to turn into a pumpkin. Okay, it's just it baffles me how the media swings. The media swings in that regard. Here's another one. CBS Sports. They just have not even QBR. They just have quarterback rankings through this season. Number 1, Lamar Jackson. Baltimore's playing out of their mind. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, who's that? 49ers. Brock Purdy at number 3. I think they have 2 losses. Number 4, Josh Allen, who's playing amazing in Buffalo. Number 5, Baker Mayfield is playing great in Tampa Bay. And like we talked about before, Baker Mayfield, perfect example of getting in the right situation. Now what? Here he's a top 5 quarterback. He's been with Tampa Bay for 2 or 3 years now. But before that, a wash. He was number 1 overall pick. No good. All this kind of stuff. Bounced around a couple of different teams. He gets in the right spot. Now what? He's top 5 quarterback. Tampa Bay's playing great. Number 6, Jaden Daniels. Number 7, another one, C.J. Stroud. We made him look like a clown, 44-7. Number 8, Jordan Love. And behold, number 9, there's Jared Goff. Number 9, behind Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, and C.J. Stroud. And right behind him at number 10 to round out the top 10, slinging Sam Darnold. So the defense is nowhere near what it was even last week. Now that Aiden Hutchinson is gone, they're not going to get the pressure that they're used to getting.
And again,
the offense,
that defense is what it is, and they have a good defense. But again, this is why it's important to look at who they've played. The Vikings, all of our games except one, we just said, were against top tier teams, and we're still ranked. Our defense is still number 1 defense.
Number 1.
No, I think they're number 2 defense, but they might be number 2. They're up there. I think their defense is, but they haven't faced 4 out of the 5 top tier teams. So so in a way, their ranking, it's not really analogous to our ranking. Like, we've faced the toughest opponents, quite literally, that we're going to face all season long, the last 4 games, and we're the number 1 defense. Like, that's not like it's just not going to change just because you crush the Cowboys. Nobody cares, dude. Well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people do care, but it's just wild. It's wild how they flip flop.
Yeah, the Cowboys are trash, and so the Lions beat the Cardinals by 7, who are not even that good. They lost to the Buccaneers 16-20. They only scored 16 points. There's a great defense. They scored 20 points against the Cardinals, who are not good. Okay, they scored 42 against the Seahawks, who was 3-0 at that time, but the Seahawks played nobody before that. And then they crushed the Cowboys with 47. So I get that, but they're scoring all these points, and they're number 2 in the division in point differential, but they just beat the Cowboys by 31 points. So before that, they only had 29. They wouldn't even be in the top 4 of the thing if they hadn't crushed them so bad. So, you got to look at that and say, okay, yeah, but what teams are you playing? So they barely beat the Rams, who we found out now are not a good team at all in week 1, 26-20. So they haven't put up huge numbers, and they haven't played the defense. They haven't played us. All that to say, the media, it's just so fickle, and it's just so, what have you done for me today? Like, literally today, because we are the best team in NFL. We are the best team in the NFC. But now all of a sudden, oh, look what Detroit did. But Scott Van Pelt, I couldn't have said it better myself. Is it them, or is Dallas just that bad? Dallas is just that bad. They really are. They're just really that bad.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, it's all skewed. The numbers are skewed, and without Aiden Hutchinson, I had us beating them with him, but without him, nah, they don't stand a chance. And
yeah, I don't want.
It could get up.
I'm nervous. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not nervous because they are a good team, and some of my fan trauma is coming out too, where it's just like, as much as I see what we see, I'm watching this team and I'm super stoked about this team. There's still that like, is this real?
Like, yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
We've been duped before, right? Like, it's brutal, but I don't know. I think it's legit. I was watching the Eisen, and he was just like, I saw it with my own eyes. I was in, like, this is a different team.
Was there in London,
he's like, this just,
it's a different team.
He's like, I was there. I saw it. Like, it's just it's palpable, So I don't know. I think it's gonna happen. Injuries, we can touch on it real quick. Do you have the list there? I know, like, Cash is out.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. Who else? Doesn't look. Yeah. So Aaron Jones might play limited.
He was
hard
limited.
to say. Now they said it was a hip, and now it looks like it's a hamstring injury.
Today, in practice, he did not participate yesterday. So we'll see. But of course, we had the free agent signing of Cam Akers came back. From
bringing
and he actually hit. And the funny thing is that we beat the Houston Texans 44-7, and who scored that touchdown? Cam Akers. He scored against us. He's the only points that the Houston Texans got against us, and now he's back with the Vikings. Which, of course, it's so it's kind of comical. Like, we had him last year, we brought him in as a free agent last year mid-season, and then we had to let him go because whatever for the it just didn't work out with the roster or the money or whatever it was. So we picked up him in mid-season. So and he's obviously familiar with KOC from his Ram days. He's familiar with the Vikings because he was just here last year. So I think he just jumps right in and plugs and play. What I've heard KOC say is that doesn't really change Ty Chandler's role. It's just more depth in case Aaron is kind of limited. So to your question about the injury report, Blake Cashman is pretty much out. Did not practice yesterday or today. Caleb Evans did not practice yesterday or today. Patrick Jones, the second, limited today. Did not practice yesterday. Aaron Jones did not practice yesterday. Limited today. Harrison Phillips limited today. T.J. Hawkinson limited yesterday and today. So we talked about him a little bit. It's still kind of up in the air. Dalton Reisner, who's coming off the IR, limited practice. Theo Jackson, full practice, and Josh Oliver, full. So they're both, those guys are both.
Well, and they're talking about Hawkinson. They're talking about Sabertooth maybe not bringing him back full because we have a short week. We play Thursday night, so
yes.
Not want first time out. They're just going to stress him, not give him any recovery time. But I in KOC we trust, man. Like he'll make the right decision. I mean, as a fan, I'm like, boy, I think we could really use him against, sit him or start him for Detroit, sit him for Thursday night. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's the Rams, right? Isn't that what we play?
Yeah, the Rams, and
we can get by. Like we'll be fine. But because he is a game changer for as much as that's an overused term. Like he is best tight end.
Yeah.
I mean,
God, he's top.
Like that opens up our run game. There's another blocker that opens up the deep ball. Like for JJ and Addison, it's like it's huge. I mean, he's such a huge piece of the puzzle. So whenever we get him back full time, like.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, and this is why, this is the last true real test, I believe, for us. outside of the hardest opponents, it looks like the rest of our schedule is our division. So, we're going to have to face them all, again, the ones we've played, and there's some that we haven't even played yet. So those are going to be tough games, as divisional teams always are.
Always, yeah.
But
I mean, that's. Yeah.
I'm wearing the Optimus since 1961 shirt.
Oh, nice.
So
I'm rolling with Jared Allen, and I have to stay with it as long as you have to stay with it for sure.
We take care of business against Detroit. I don't know how that doesn't just solidify the Vikes and change the narrative in sports media. Like, what do you have to say after that? And then you look at our schedule after that, and it's like you are kind of to the Paul Allen. Like, I can't see see the next loss. Like, holy smokes! Like, we can make a real run here. And it's bonkers. Yeah. It's also bonkers that I just want to touch on it real quick, that like there is a scenario in which every team in the NFC North could make the playoffs. That's wild.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, they can, but it takes like, we basically would have to, not only would they have to win a bunch of games, I think everybody would have to basically win out, and then we would split the division. And if that were to happen, all four teams go. Really? They would take the three wild card spots.
3 wild cards? Wow.
Isn't there 3 wild card spots? Yeah. That's people were talking about it. I heard at multiple shows talking about it. I mean, so many things would have to go right for that to happen, but that would be ridiculous. But also, that just speaks to how this division is playing right now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
what is their record?
Our 17-5.
Yeah, as combined record. That's crazy.
Yeah, 17-5.
It's not close.
It's just, it's not even close. Like the what did I read somewhere? The NFC East combined point differential is like 20 some points, and our lowest team in our division has a point differential of 41. I mean, like the Packers, 41, and the NFC East as a division is like 20 something or 30 points or something like that. So, just looking at the schedule, of course. So we have the Lions, which, like I said, it's not going to be an easy game. I don't think. I think that there's potential for us to really, really like just dominate without Aiden Hutchinson. Dan Campbell trying the nonsense. I did watch that clip that you told me about Beeflo when they asked him about it. He's like,
"Yeah,
I like." We should mention it. He just kind of cracks a smile, like, I got something for him.
Just looks insidious, dude. Yeah, he's like, "Well, that fire, they're going to bring the fire," and he's like, "Well, I fight fire with fire. That's just kind of me, though." But he just he grinned. He's like, "Go try that hook and ladder with me, son. I want you to. I want to see your trick plays.
I got something for you.
Yeah, turn your head and go off, son. I'm gonna check your balls."
We talked about the gauntlet of our schedule was the first 5 or 6 games. So after the Lions, which, obviously I'm going to predict that they win. We can get that at the end. But then after that, we play Thursday night. Okay, it's a short week, and we have to go to LA. It's the Rams, but the Rams are not good. And then the Colts come to us, not good. We go to the Jaguars, not good. We go to the Titans, not good. We go to Chicago, which, they're showing some stuff. But Caleb, he's a rookie. Like, are you going to have anything? Are you better? Again, are you better than CJ Stroud or Jordan Love or Brock Purdy? No, you're not.
The only thing I can say to that is, as we get deeper into the season, there's more and more tape of the B-Flow defense. And so it gives teams more information to look at. Not that I really think it's going to help them, because I don't. I just think B-Flow has got, and I definitely think he had a hand in who we picked up, in the offseason. And he's got players that fit into his scheme. And he's, for someone who has always been pretty stoic and straight faced, even in interviews and definitely on the sidelines. Like, he sure smiles a lot lately.
Yeah,
Like he's feeling
and
feeling a certain way.
and
he
watching
knows what he's got.
like some of the sideline stuff, like the field access that the Vikings put out and stuff like that. Like he's over there and he's jacking them guys up. And Rich Eisen, like you said, Rich Eisen, who he's been watching this game for a very long time, and for him to say, "Hey, I was there," like it's this team's for real. Like this team is bought in to everything. The offense is bought into KOC.
Oh yeah,
he has the people that he wants. The defense is definitely bought into B-Flow, and he's got the personnel, like I talked about in week 1 and 2. I think is that he went out and got the people that he wanted in his defense. I saw a clip. KOC does a couple different things during the week. He goes to talk to Paul Allen for like 20 minutes, the 9 to noon on Tuesdays, which is amazing. And then he does film breakdown with Pete Bursich. And when he shows some of that defensive stuff and the way they drop back, and he talked about that one play, I don't think it was a sack, but it was like a break or something like that. He's like, he talked about, he's like, so they have 7 guys in protected. How many guys we have up there? Oh, we have 8. And from 8 guys on the line, they dropped into Tampa too. Like those linebackers are
it's crazy.
I mean, just sprinting straight, and they're like backpedaling. They're turning sideways and running as hard as they possibly can straight back. But they're still got their eye on the quarterback and watching the play. I mean, it's ridiculous when you watch some of the film.
I'm telling you, go all the way back to that Niners game after the game, and I've never, maybe it's happened before and I just don't remember it, but I've never seen it, where the opposing quarterback goes up to your defensive coordinator and shakes his hand like, dude, your schemes are
it's crazy. It's
ridiculous,
insane.
bro.
Yeah,
like
insane.
What opposing quarterback does that? Just go to the other side and give the defensive coordinator flowers. Yeah. You might shake the head coach's hand, but oh my
and the
God.
other quarterback, but not the defensive coordinator. Yeah, like it's a difference maker. So I mean, going back to like the schedule, we go to the Titans November 17th, then we play the Bears, okay, and in Chicago November 14th. It's right around Thanksgiving. The weather could be an issue. I mean, I don't think Chicago's as good as they're trying to make them out to be, but it's a division game, still a division game. And then the Cardinals come to us. They're not very good. The Falcons come to Minnesota. We're not going to let Kirk Cousins come in there and throw for 500 yards. Are you insane? Then the Bears come to Minnesota.
I don't know. Kirk goes pretty good though. I mean, but I don't know how he's good with him and his check down. I mean, everybody knows that knows me.
They know
I'm a Kirk O'Chains fan. But what's he going to do? I mean, he does now again. Wait, but he has been subjected to B-Flow. Like he was on the team. Now he didn't have the same personnel last year, but he knows how B-Flow works a little bit. So if any of these quarterbacks have some armor against B-Flow, I would give it to Kirk O'Chains.
Maybe.
I mean, I just feel he has a better edge. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying he's got what the other ones don't have, and that's real-time personal experience with Flores. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think you can overlook that fact, And he's playing great this year. Like he's doing great.
He's doing good. Yep. Then we go to the Seahawks.
So, I mean,
December 22nd. That should be an easy win. The Seahawks are not good. Packers come to us on the 29th, and then we play Detroit on January 5th. So, I mean, realistically,
Packers come to us, that's a revenge game.
Yeah,
that's a revenge game from last year when they embarrassed us at US Bank. So,
nobody's coming.
It's going to be a dogfight at the end of the season.
Yeah, well,
because of all the divisional games.
Unless we're sitting, 3 of the last 4 are Bears, Packers, Lions. So it's Bears, Seahawks, Packers, Lions. So the division, I mean, it could be sewn up by then just based on what they do to each other. If they just beat each other up, and they're all, they're whatever they are in the division. So what is there? Each of them has 2 games, 2, 4, 6. So there's only 6 games against the division rivals. So if they're all 3-3 or 3-2 coming into our games at the end, and we're 4-0 or 3-0, then the division could be sewn up, especially for week 18 against the Lions.
We beat the Lions to go 6-0.
Yeah.
It's not absurd to think we can go 10, 11-0 with that schedule.
Yeah, no, for sure. Rams, Colts, Jaguars, Titans after that. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the Bears. So we beat the Lions. We could go to Soldiers Field or whatever it's called. We could go to Chicago 10-0 in week 12. I mean,
undefeated. That would be
cool. Yeah. I mean that's not even like a stretch, really. I mean, and even let's say
you touched on it last week about like every team lays an egg. No matter how good they are, it just seems like every team has one bad game. It's like that might have been against the Jets. Yeah. What if our egg was against the Jets and our defense bailed us out and we survived and we win, and now we don't have any more eggs to lay?
Now we don't have any more.
Like now it's just we're rolling. We learned our lesson and away we go.
Well, the other thing that's good for us against the Lions, like I said, is that we're coming off of the bye. So they have tape on us, but we're not going to be the same. We're not going to have the same tendencies. KOC is not going to call the same plays on third down that he has a tendency to do. B-Flow now has an opportunity to change some stuff up. So they have film of the first 5 weeks, but does that really play into what they're going to see on Sunday at noon locally there? Because now we know, and we've had more time to self-scout ourselves than the Lions have to scout us. You know what I'm saying? So the Lions had a bye when we were playing the last game we played against the Jets. Okay, they started watching some of that, but then they had to come back and they had to play the Cowboys. And now, they played at 4:25. So I mean, they got a full week minus 3 hours. But like they started their preparation on Tuesday probably because they probably took Monday off. I'm guessing most schedules are the same. I don't know. I know the Vikings are Monday and Tuesday, and the players come back on Wednesday. So they've only had this week. We've had 2 weeks to prepare ourselves with the self-scouting and to watch the Lions, all of their games, and prepare for them. So as far as us being prepared and us not falling into the same tendencies that we've had, like the Lions might think they know what's going on, but can they really? Because we're not going to do the same things that we've been doing. So they're not going to be able to really game plan and say, well, they do this on third down. Well, I guarantee you we're not going to do that this week because we know it too. KOC, the staff looked at every situation. This is what they normally do on third down. This is what they do on defense. And like you said, that B-Flow smile, that I got trying to pull that hook and ladder nonsense against us, dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna like
Dare
that.
you. I want you to do that. We're gonna
please try with the stupid stuff, dude. Pull a fake punt on your own 30.
You're gonna get ginked. It's gonna be great.
No. Just gonna try a fake punt on your own 30, Dan Campbell. Try it. Try a fake punt on your own 30 and see what happens, dude. Just give us 7 points. Just give it to us.
He will. He's just reckless enough to do it.
He will. Yeah. And I think that he's going to be even more so because here's a chance, and I firmly believe that he buys into that. They're undefeated. We want to show how good we are. We're going to go in their house and beat them. So everything is on the table. All the nonsense. He doesn't care that we're ready for it. He doesn't care that we know he's going to try it. He's going to do it anyways because he just feels he's that arrogant, and we're going to show him. We're going to show him. Nobody has figured out B-Flow's defense yet. Nobody.
Here's one thing I do know. I know that I have never looked forward to a Lions matchup as much as I'm looking forward to Sunday. In fact, I'm going to be in Charleston, South Carolina, fish with my brother and my nephew, and we could go offshore, but we ain't going offshore Sunday. I don't care if that's the best weather day. I have to be within phone service because we will be listening / watching this game on the boat for sure. There's no way I'm missing this game. There's no way. I mean, I was half tempted to be like, well, maybe we should just go in and watch it at a bar and then go fishing after again. It's like, we'll pull it up on the phone while we're out there.
Just listen to Paul Allen. It's gonna be better anyways. Paul Allen's call is ridiculous. He's so
For sure.
good. I absolutely.
And he's loose.
Yeah,
he's so good. He's so good. But let's wrap it up. Let's give our predictions.
Well, okay. Obviously, we win. Boy, I don't know. I am the only trepidation. We haven't scored in the last 6 quarters very well. But their defense without Aiden Hutchinson, you give him time to sit back there and light this up. And if TJ's back, oh my goodness, dude. KOC, I need to know if he's back to make my prediction, bro. I don't know that I can. I'm gonna assume that he's back. I'm going to assume that TJ is back because I think they're a little bit of a cat and mouse game there. Boy, I really feel myself. Yeah, I feel 34-14. 34-14.
Ass whooping. I like it. I'm not as aggressive as you are.
Maybe 17. I think 34-17. We double it. 34-17.
I'm picking a Vikes win. And I think it's going to be a big gut check, reality check for Detroit facing that B flow. Like Goff's got we're going to see what Goff really is with the real defense. And I don't think they get many touchdowns. I think they're already struggling in the red zone. They penalties, push them back. I'm going to go 24-13.
No, I like that 13. Mm-hmm. Could be 34-13.
Yeah, they get one touchdowns and some
under 20.
Goals.
Under 20. 13, 14, 17 in that neighborhood, but we score 34.
There ain't going to be anything than 45 points, Detroit. It ain't going to be
We're not.
No, sir.
This is not the Mike Zimmer Vikings anymore, my friend. This is not the Mike Zimmer. And just a little side note to throw in there. We have never lost to Detroit 4 times in a row, and apparently we've lost to them the last 3 times. 2 years ago we split with them. Last year they swept us. And so we have not lost 4 times in a row. And this is the 4th meeting. I mean, we've lost the previous 3. So 34. 14,
I mean, it's for week 7 is that what we're in? Coming into week 7? Week 7. It seems crazy to be putting this much weight on a game, but like this is for the lifeblood of the NFC North. This is it. This is the game that's going to determine like who the real deal is. Like there's not going to be any denying it for either team. If Detroit comes in and they beat us, we're going to have to give them their flowers. Like there it is. I mean,
they beat us.
Damn, your offense did what no other offense could do. So
I don't think that they do, but like you said, and
I don't
if
think
they
so either.
do
But
beat
like,
us,
possibility.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, that's why you play the game. I mean, it always, on paper. But the other thing is that if we do happen to lose this game, then they're first and we're second in the division because we have the same record. They have the tiebreaker. So it's a tough hill to climb to come back and win the division, unless they start to lose to the Packers and the Bears and stuff like that, which they're better than the Packers and the Bears. So really, this is a huge game for the North. Like I said, best division in football. It's a big game. I mean, no matter what, it's a big game. But I think we're going to remind everybody just who we really are this year. And we do this, and we do what I think we're going to do. And I think KOC loses. Kansas City loses. We're the only undefeated team in football after this weekend.
I told you that off air that I was like, I think Kansas City is going to lose one at San Francisco, but like in my own brain, I was like, did I just say that out loud? Do I really think that? I don't know. It just seems like Kansas City finds a way to wait. And they're beat up. They're beat up like crazy, but they just find a way. Usually it's a black and white striped way, but it's
Are they on the road? Are they going to San Francisco? Do you know?
Yeah, they're going to San Francisco.
They're going to San Francisco. I mean, it's the best chance of them to lose for sure. I mean, or one of the best chances. I mean, that's a great team. So
yeah, I don't know what their schedule. We'd have to pull it up, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah.
So all right, here we go. Try this.
See you, bye.
And I tell you guys I love you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And that will never change. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play more games.